तु सहवीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। So today is a very special day when we are celebrating the 25th wedding anniversary for Vipul and Hina. It was meant to be a surprise, but it's not remained much surprise, but this is a great accomplishment. To live together for 25 years, I think, is a great, with the same person. Is not an ordinary thing at all. And so we thought that tonight we'll talk about the relationship, freedom in relationship. For the very simple reason that as human beings, we have the privilege of being related. Other creatures do not remember. So even if the mother has a relationship with the newborn, for some time that remains, then there is no relationship. Whereas human being is privileged to have relationship. And one survey showed that 80% of our happiness comes from relationships. We have a variety of relationships, of course, with father, with mother, with siblings, with grandparents, children, grandchildren, friends, spouse, of course, with even my boss, with my subordinates, even with my servants. In fact, we are related to everybody, but still, those who are close to us, we are related. And I said, that should also include the highest to the lowest. Because every relationship is very precious. And as much as every relationship has the potential of giving us a lot of joy, because we feel nourished. A relationship is an excellent means of nurturing and nourishing, and that's how we feel nurtured, nourished, gratified, happy. Happiness that comes from this is the major happiness in our life, say 80%. Other sources of happiness, such as various sense pleasures and so forth, contribute only about 20%. And therefore, relationships are very important and very precious. Sometimes, not understanding how precious these relationships are, you just throw them away. With a slight misunderstanding, some conflict that gets created, we just say, okay, you are on your way, I am on my way. Because very often we simply squander away and throw away relationship, not realizing how important it is in our life. The relationship is so important because it is the potential of bringing out the core person from me. Who is the core person? The loving person is the core person. What's the core of our personality? What is our true nature? What is even nature of Atma or self? Love is the nature of the self. Asti bhati priyam. So priyam or love is the nature of everything. And it is our nature. So when do we feel happy? Whenever that loving self becomes manifest, that is when we feel happy. And so, when does that loving self become manifest? When I'm a kind person. So whenever I display kindness, whenever I display compassion, whenever I display understanding, forgiveness, accommodation, large-heartedness, inclusion, when I include others, when I accommodate others, there is a sense of gratification. When I am kind to others, there is a sense of gratification. When I am compassionate to others, there is gratification. And one beautiful thing is, I need to spend no money to be kind, to be compassionate, to be giving, to be charitable, to be caring. No money, no nothing has to be spent. Because all that is available to us freely, because that's our nature. It just happens that we have an infinite storage of kindness and compassion and goodness and large-heartedness and charitableness. All we need is to tap into what we already have. And a relationship becomes an occasion to tap. We need some reason, some nimitta, some occasion, some cause to tap that. Hopefully a day will come when I am just spontaneously only kind and compassionate, then there is no question about it. But very often, the love which is within us is veiled, is obstructed, is stifled, and therefore does not become manifest. So therefore, we have to make a special effort for that love to become manifest. Even though love is our nature. And we should be naturally loving people. And still we find that more often than not, we are not loving, unfortunately. What's the reason? There is some inhibiting factor. Something that inhibits, something that stifles, something that comes in the way of manifestation of my own nature, which is love. What is that? The language of Bhagavad Gita means raga and dvesha, attachments and aversions. Or in the context of relationship, it is the expectation that we have, the demand that we make of others is what stifles our love. Love becomes manifest when I am a giver and not a demander. Love becomes manifest when I am a contributor, not a consumer. Love becomes manifest when I am kind, not when I am cruel. Becomes manifest when I am compassionate and not hard-hearted. But We are not most of the time. Because of our preconceived notions with our own, preconceived notion of what is likable, what is not likable, what I want, what I do not want, how things should be, how they should not be. That is because this ego all the time plays a role. The one who relates is one ego having its own various complexes. Relates to another ego which has his or her own complexes. Because we are a very complex entity. What kind of complexes do I have? Basic complex is that I am a limited being and therefore I find myself a needy being. I find that I am needy. I am in need of being loved. I am in need of being taken care of. I am in need of being cared for. So that's what I think about myself. That somebody should take care of me. Someone should love me. Someone should be kind to me. Someone should do what I want them to do. This is where I am coming from. This ego is coming from the place of need, which need brings about expectations. I feel my need fulfilled when you fulfill my need. So needy person is necessarily dependent upon someone else to fulfill his need. This ego is always a dependent entity, always in need of feeling good about himself. As an individual, on my own, I do not feel good about myself. On my own, I do not generally even respect myself. I do not accept myself, respect myself, not accepting of myself. Very often, I reject myself, even condemn myself. That's what is going on within me. Therefore, I am in need of someone who can relieve me from this, who can make me feel good about myself, that I am all right. So, in need of feeling good about myself. This is our need. The ego has a need of feeling good about myself, and for that, I am dependent upon others. They should make me feel good. Oh, Swami, you're wonderful. Oh, what a class it was. What an orator you are. Oh, how kind you are. I feel good. So this is what I am in need of being approved, of being validated, of being accepted, of being praised. That is the need of the ego. So when two persons relate to each other, let's say spouses, husband and wife, each one is like this. Each one is in need of being accepted, being respected, being cared for. So this is how thus comes the expectation. And thus when two persons relate to each other, there is expectation that the other person should make me happy. When do I feel happy? When they do what I like them to do and they refrain from doing what I do not want them to do. That's simple. We feel happy when our likes and dislikes are satisfied. Again, this ego is a bunch of likes and dislikes. There are many things I like, there are many things I dislike. That is because we are born with tendencies of likes and dislikes. On the top of it, in the process of my upbringing, many likes and dislikes are added. And therefore this ego is a bunch of complexes bunch of needs which manifests as likes and dislikes. This is how it should be, should not be. That's how you should be, you should not be. I have prescription for everybody, including President of the United States, how he should be. I have nothing to do with it still. I have prescription for everybody. Then what talk of prescription for my spouse is the closest to me? So closer the relationship is, more the expectations are. And more the expectations are, more is the possibility of my expectation not being fulfilled. And therefore, closer the relationship is, there is more a possibility of my being hurt, my being unhappy. So in the world, person who makes me most unhappy is a person who is most closely related to me. If you find this so, there is nothing surprising about it. Because we relate to each other with expectations and demands. My basic demand is, other person should make me happy. That demand manifests in different ways. If you sit like this, I'm happy. Talk like this, I'm happy. Dress like this, I'm happy. Cook like this, I'm happy. Whatever. And thus in everything there are these expectations that basically what I want is that person should make me happy. Even if the person wants to make me happy, today I'm happy because she dresses in one way. Tomorrow when she dresses, not this way, change it. So my likes and they keep on changing. Thing is that my fanciful mind comes up with all different kinds of requirements every day. And therefore, even if somebody wants to please me, they just can't do it. In fact, God also cannot please me. Poor God is trying all the time to make me happy. Even He cannot make me happy. Because for me to be happy, He should do what I want, and He thinks He's doing, but by then my want is changed. So that's the kind of person ego is. And one ego relating to other ego. This is how things are. And therefore, more often than not, a relationship, instead of being a source of happiness, becomes a source of unhappiness. So it's very ironical that what is meant for making us happy itself becomes the reason for making us unhappy. So our Swami used to ask this question, is marriage a word or a sentence? Is marriage a word, marriage, or a sentence? Well, if you live properly, it is a word. Otherwise, it is life sentence. This one thing we are stuck with it. Elsewhere you can even create a distance. There are many kinds of relationships we have. There are disposable relationships also and indisposable relationships also. Well, I have an employee, I have a boss, I can dispose him off, I can change. I have a servant, I can change. There are things that I can change, I can dispose him off, I can create a distance. But with my father, I can't do anything about it. I'm born with that. So relationships are born, blood related. My father, my mother, my siblings. So some relationship we just cannot get rid of. We have to live with it. And also this holy wedlock of the man and woman also is a relationship like this, where you are with each other. Either you are stuck with each other or you have each other. Either 1 plus 1 can become 11 or 1 plus 1 can become twice the misery. It's up to us to do that. That is why a relationship, to understand relationship and work on it, is the most important thing in our life, even before Vedanta, before anything. Although we require Vedanta to understand where we are coming from, as I just discussed. The basic thing that seems to define a relationship is mutual expectations. So somebody asked, a newlywed couple asked our Swamiji, Swamiji, what's the duty of husband and wife? Swami said in a simple sentence, the duty of the husband is to make the wife happy, and duty of wife is to make the husband happy. Simple. They can try for the whole of their life, Because how do you make other person happy? By satisfying his or her likes and dislikes. Meaning that we should make all the effort to do what the person likes and avoid what the other person does not like. That's the way of making the other person happy. This can work provided this commitment is there on the part of both. In India, usually there is a one-sided commitment. Poor wife always, in the olden days anyway, these days it may not be so, but then always women, they always try to make the man happy, the husband happy, did what they wanted, etc., as best as they could. Other fellow never thought his responsibility that he also is required to do something. This one-way street does not work. Even though a woman tries to make the husband happy and then bends over backwards and does what all she can, if there is no response from the other side, nobody can do this forever. Because every time you try to make the other person happy, do what they want you to do, and there is no response, there is a hurt. Because understand that in order to make the other person happy, I should try to do what the other person likes and avoid what the other person doesn't like. But what happens if what this person likes is what I dislike, suppose? Simple thing. The husband likes Kerala, let us say, and the wife doesn't like it. It can happen. So then this Kerala means bitter gourd. In this house, bitter gourd is never cooked. He says, there's no season. She keeps on replying, She never buys bitter gourd. Or it's out of season. No, it is too expensive. And it never gets cooked. Fortunately, a doctor came into his rescue. Doctor declared that this fellow has too much blood sugar. So from tomorrow, every day you should eat bitter gourd. Then he got it. But otherwise, because for doing something the other person likes, more often than not, we are required to do what we do not like. Meaning that to fulfill the likes and dislikes of others, very often we have to let go our own likes and dislikes. So letting go. But Swami used to use one word, yield, Y-I-E-L-D. So in United States, there is a triangular sign called yield. When you are entering a highway, the traffic is going on. In India, he'll just go into that. In India, he's just simply insert them. Leaves it to God what happens, But there you will be turned to pieces, If you enter into that kind of a thing, you will be blown off in no time because the traffic is just going zoom, zoom, zoom. So yield. Let the traffic go and you find your appropriate time to enter. So Swami liked this word yield. Let there be sutra in the life, yield. I won't yield. Because yielding means what? It's below my dignity, it's hurting my ego. When you let go something, why should I let go? Why doesn't he let go? Then it becomes a competition of not letting go, holding on to things. But if both of them are committed to yield, to let go, understand that by letting go, the ego feels that by letting go I become smaller, but that's wrong. By letting go, I become bigger and not smaller. Because what would I let go? My demands. What I have to let go is my expectation. other person is not able to fulfill my expectation, what do? Either I demand, fulfill my expectation, otherwise your way, my way or highway, that I can say. Or other person is not able to fulfill the demand, I let go. This let go that comes out of an understanding of other person, out of a compassion for the other person. I let go out of understanding, recognizing that it is not always possible for other people to fulfill my expectations. Sometimes they don't even know what my expectations are. Sometimes, even when they know, they are not able to fulfill them. And sometimes they don't care to fulfill them also. It can be anything. Then what do? If I hold on to my expectation, I have to let go of that person. I have to make a choice between the person or expectation. So what's a wise choice? I let go of my expectation. Instead, accept the person. And that accepting the person is out of an understanding. But Swamiji, she just doesn't do what I want her to do. She knows what I want, she or he, whatever, All right. She just resents, she doesn't want to do it. Then also understand this person. How come? When a person does not cooperate with me, does not fulfill my expectation, doesn't care for me, understand that it is not out of willingness, it is out of pain. It is not that the person is happy and then not doing what I want, the person is in pain, some kind of a pain. I may or may not have caused that pain, I may have caused it in the past, but there is some pain which makes this person insensitive to my needs. Sensitivity is our nature, but it's a pain that sometimes makes us insensitive. So our Swami would say, a two-step response. One-step response is immediately reacting to the behavior of the person, tit for tat. A two-step response is step back and ask the question, why does the person behave like this? Is it because they just don't care for me? Is it because of resentment towards me? Or there is some difficulty inside? Maybe the person has a difficulty inside. There is some pain, there is something that's preventing the person from, because basically we always want to make others happy. That is our nature. Why do we want to make others happy? Because we find happiness in that. The best happiness comes by making the other person happy. And therefore, if we had our way, we want to make everybody happy. Then when the person doesn't want to make me happy, that means that it is unnatural, there is something that is coming in the way, some obstacle is there, some pain is there. So then, rather than responding to the behavior of the person, if I respond to the person who is in pain, response will be a sympathetic response rather than a response out of anger or a reaction. So thus, expectations we all have. We cannot say give up all expectations, that's the best thing. But still, it may not be that easy to give up expectation. Even when I have expectation, one thing I should be ready for is that I am free to have my expectations. At the same time, I should be prepared that my expectation may not be fulfilled. We get so identified with our expectation that when somebody does not satisfy my expectation, I feel rejected. See, what causes pain in me is a sense of rejection. And when the other person doesn't do what I want them to do, then they have not accepted my demand or expectation, but they have not accepted me. You see, that's an equation there. I am so much identified with my expectation or demand that when my expectation is rejected, I feel rejected. I am so identified with my opinions that when my opinion is rejected, I feel rejected. I am identified with so many things that when those things get rejected, I feel rejected. What is necessary is to create a distance. That what this person is not satisfied with my expectation, what the person has rejected is my expectation, not me. What the person has rejected is my opinion, not me. I don't have to equate myself with that. In that case, in a two-step response, I will be able to remain free from reacting. Then I can bring in my free will. So human being is a free will. And that free will can come into play when there is a space between the first step and the second step. When I react with tit for tat, there is no free will. Meaning that I am not much different from a reacting animal. Reaction is reaction. Meaning that it is not I who is responding, it is my reaction, maybe anger. That's what is in fact controlling me, governing me. That time I have relegated my status of a human being, But when I step back, not allow my reaction to control me, instead bring my viveka, a discerning mind, sympathetically look at the other person as to why does the other person behave like this. There must be some difficulty there. I may not know what it is, but definitely there is some pain. For the simple reason is, as I said, when we are happy, we always want to make others happy. When you're happy, always share it. So look at this. Hey, look at that sunset, So beautiful. Now because this person enjoyed the sunset, she saw me coming. Look at this. When we are happy, we always want to share happiness. When we are happy, we always like to make others happy. Because the happiness that comes from making others happy is a sattvic happiness, a non-binding happiness. On the other hand, the happiness that comes by fulfillment of my demand is a rajasic happiness, is a binding happiness. So two ways we can become happy in our life. One is by fulfillment of a demand, or other is by fulfilling the other person's demand. When you fulfill other person's demand, other person will be happy. So one way of becoming happy is by making the other happy, by fulfilling their demand. But normally we make a choice of being happy by fulfillment of our demand. That comes at a great cost. Because demand is like fire. When you satisfy the demand, this fire grows when you pour butter in there. So as demands are satisfied, the demand doesn't go away. Demand in fact becomes more and more intense. I become more and more demanding person. And that way making it impossible for the other person to really ultimately make me happy. Therefore, in the relationship, the simple rule is that I consider it my privilege to make the other person happy. That's the privilege that only human being has. Dogs and cats don't have that. They can't make other fellows happy. They can only bark and they can do that kind of a thing. They can't do this. We have a privilege of making the other person happy. How? By fulfilling their demand. Sometimes it may be difficult. I'm not saying try to fulfill every demand. It may be possible for us also. As best as we can. When we cannot, we make it known. Instead of saying no, say I'm sorry, right? I'm not able to do this. I understand what it is that you want, but I'm sorry that I'm not because of this difficulty of mine. Then people will understand. If they understand my genuine difficulty as to how I am not able to do what they expect me to do, You will understand. So thus, what creates all the unhappiness is demands. When I make a demand, what creates all the happiness is by fulfilling the demands. That's all you need. Thus, to be related is a privilege. Because every relationship can bring about happiness by trying to make the other person happy. That is called love. So if love is my basic nature, then in every relationship I should try to bring out that loving person. You know what is the characteristic of love? I mean, you would know better than me, but still, I go by the scriptures. So sage Narada says, that's what I go to. Tat sukhe sukhitvam. A bhakta or a devotee he loves the Lord. Means what? Tat sukhe sukhitvam. Tat sukhe. In the happiness of that one, sukhitvam, happiness is mine. So love means what? Gaining happiness through making the other person happy. And that is our experience. When we go out of our way a little bit and help somebody, even if you have to put up with some little hardship or pain, when you have to make somebody happy, see a smile on the face of that person, the satisfaction that it gives us is invaluable. So that happiness that comes through love, and love always means giving. Love always means offering. That's why Swami always used to say, transform yourself from being a consumer to a contributor. A demanding person is a consumer. The one who fulfills other person's demand is a contributor. So in fact, when you are married, you do not need anybody else to be a karma yogi. Who is a karma yogi? A person who performs karma or action is the attitude of yoga. What is the attitude of yoga? Yoga is the attitude of offering, contributing, giving. Greatest opportunity. We have to go out to do things, here, right here. You are there for her and she is there for you. Therefore, you have somebody you can contribute. So, karma yoga can be best practice. In fact, our Swami always used to say that marriage will make you a yogi if you really live properly. If you want to be happy, the only way you can become happy is by growing bigger than you. Meaning that this one requires us to grow all the time. What is growth? Growth is in terms of becoming more and more free from expectations and demands. Meaning more and more free from likes and dislikes. That's what Lord Krishna wants. That likes and dislikes we should give up. So here is an opportunity. And I am telling you that they will demand, I don't say this is easy at all. It's not easy to make somebody happy, not because it's not easy to give up our likes and dislikes. We so strongly hold on to our demands, expectations, likes and dislikes. That is what I'm made of. The ego is made up of that. And when I give up my likes and dislikes, I think I'm giving up myself, which is wrong. Giving up likes and dislikes, I become bigger than what I was. So that is what is required. You can say love is like fire. Fire always needs fuel. Similarly also the fire of love needs fuel of what? Of likes and dislikes and expectations and demands. Just give that. Then the flame of love always will rise. And what else do you need? That is moksha, really. What is moksha is nothing but just being happy when you are natural self. So what makes me an unnatural person? This person or ego, a demanding ego makes me an unnatural person. More non-demanding I become, more natural I become. So ideally, a relationship should be a non-demanding relationship. That I do not make any demands. When would that happen? When I accept that person as the person is. Understand that when you get married, you get the whole package. In other relationship, the whole package is not there. Even with friends also, we are relate to each other, occasionally, not 24 hours. The whole package comes. And even if this so-called love marriage, in India there is the term love marriage. Meaning the marriage contract that comes after love, which is an advantage. In India we have an arranged marriage, so we have to discover the love and then go ahead. Although Swami was very proud of this and he always said, but anyway, I do not know. So whether this is arranged marriage, but that's all we have. You see, in India we have no opportunity for love because people don't come in contact with each other. We don't have that platform, the social platforms where boys and girls can come in contact with each other and they can develop acquaintance. That we don't have. So then we use other platforms like caste, etc. and then all arrange things, which is all right. But it's a commitment. Again, what makes a relationship successful is a commitment. I'm committed to this. No choice. If you keep a choice, it will never work. People in United, they have green card in United States. They come back to India and say, I'm going to settle in India. If everything works out, they will never work out. You come from US, nothing will work out in India, and he'll go back. So this fellow, he landed in Bombay airport and he tore off his green card. Then you have to make it work. So tore off the green card, meaning that don't leave any options for yourself. There is no choice. This is a commitment. And so they say that the fire is a witness when the commitment is made. 7 times, 4 times you go around and 7 times steps and all kinds of commitments are made. They are not just to be forgotten there. They are meant to create samskara. So lagna is samskara. Samskara means an impression created in the mind. So then the priest says, now I declare you man and wife. So he's changed it. This fellow is just a person so far. He has become no husband. That is a big transformation. That's a big commitment. Any relationship is a big responsibility, but this relation of husband and wife is one of the greatest responsibilities. It's the most demanding relationship. Every relationship is demanding. To be parents also is very demanding. To be guru also is very demanding, Anyway, to be anything is very demanding. To be children, every relationship has its own demands because there is always a proper way of doing things. There's a script for every relationship and that is what you have to act accordingly. And it's demanding. But the most demanding relationship is between spouses. Because you cannot create distance. You are stuck. And therefore you better make it. The only way you can make it is by accepting each other, by respecting each other. Respect the other person. No, you're like, no, whatever it is, I'm sure that there are so many limitations everybody has. Nobody is perfect. Then how can we accept an imperfect? Well, one imperfect accepting the imperfect. So that's called kshama. Kshama means accommodation, or to accommodate the shortcomings of others. We have no difficulty in accommodating all the virtues of others. Where does accommodation come? Accommodating the limitations and shortcomings of others. See, when you live together, then you realize what all the things that you did not realize in so-called love. People love, they live for 5 years and 10 years. They get married and separate in 6 months. That means what? In 6 months they discovered about each other something that they did not discover in those 10 years. That is naturally. Because when you relate to each other, then you only bring out some part of yourself. When you live together, then there is nothing, you are just exposed totally. And then you are vulnerable. Otherwise, you always keep yourself in non-vulnerable, and therefore you dress in a certain way, talk in a certain way, behave in a certain way, do what is right thing to do, and then it looks all right. You can act and pretend. You cannot do that too long once you get married. How long can you do that? And therefore, of course, you are very vulnerable. That is why trust is a very important thing. In every relationship, trust is extremely important. This story I was told earlier there is a doha in Hindi which our Tulsidas quotes. This doha describes an ideal relationship, ideal friendship between milk and water. Look, in India they pour water in milk. Milk accepts water and makes it as valuable itself. So water, when it's mixed with milk, they become one, and water becomes as valuable as milk. That's what milk does. So now this lady starts boiling the milk. And who goes first? The water goes first. Water sacrifices. So when you boil the milk, the water starts boiling and evaporating. Then milk finds, hey, my friend water is being tortured. So you know what the milk does? It just overflows and quenches that fire. This gas, but in the olden days, you had the wood stove. So each one sacrifices for the other. That is how that ideal relationship is. But all you need to do is put some sour thing in there, in that milk. What happens, They split. Milk and water split. Both of them become useless. So that sourness is the sourness of distrust. Once trust is gone, when the doubt comes, samshayatma vinashyati, this is another problem where so many relations are ruined because of this suspicion. And so, who called you? Whose telephone was that? How come you are half an hour late? Suspicion. The wife suspects the husband. Husband suspects wife, always watching who is she talking to. So when the relationship always is held together by trust, mutual trust. However, when somebody trusts me, it becomes my responsibility to remain trustworthy. It's a big responsibility that you trust me. That means that I have to live up to the expectation of the trust. I must become a trustworthy person. So each one trusts the other. Then if each one also accepts the responsibility, being trustworthy, it is trust that binds the two. So mutual trust, mutual acceptance, mutual respect, and a commitment to make this relationship by doing what best I can do to make the other person happy. I look forward to that. It's my privilege to make somebody happy. If he doesn't have that privilege, you have a privilege here to make the other person happy. Doesn't matter who that person is. Normally, what happens is, each one demands that other person should change. You should change to suit me. That one says, you should change. That is how the battle goes on. Instead of asking that person to change, can I change to accommodate? If each one is willing to change to accommodate the other, it is a beautiful process of self-growth. This is a spiritual thing. Every relationship, in fact, it is a spiritual relationship. Every relationship can help us grow spiritually in our inner purity, inner love, large-heartedness. Knowledge is not far away. You get sadhana, you get all sampatti. Viveka, vairagya, samadhi, everything it can give you, provided you wisely use this relationship. It requires viveka, intelligence, wisdom to understand where to let go. I'm not saying always yield and always let go. That also requires wisdom. Every relationship requires both. Letting go and holding also. Nigraha and anugraha. Anugraha means give them the freedom. Nigraha means restrain. So, wisely use nigraha and anugraha. Where to give freedom and where to restrain. No, not this. This you cannot do. You can say that. Provided there is reason for it. Not just because you're fancy, therefore that person cannot do. Because you realize that doing that is not in the best interest of that person. That's how you can take a stand. Each one can take a stand when they find that other person is about to do something which is damaging. So all of this requires wisdom, alertness, commitment, and a commitment to grow. And growth is when you make somebody happy. So that commitment makes this person becomes a perfect person. So that is how we have the ideal couples. They are our ideals. It's Rama and Sita, or Satyavan and Savitri, etc. It's not only Pativrata. Maybe it's they've highlighted the woman's role and looks like man, but I guess a woman cannot do all that unless man, she does get something in return. You can't keep on doing it and doing it. Even Savitri also can't just do, unless Satyavan has something in there. Satyavan, some way it contributes to her. Of course, it's always nice to highlight women because we always worship them, respect them, but I guess man also must have some contribution. No man is highlighted, really. There's no pati, so there's a pati vrata is there. There's no patni vrati or something like that. This culture highlights women, understand? Although they say that there is, women has a lot of place. Women always were highlighted. They're always respected. In fact, we worship them. Every morning we recite their name. It is Pativrata's name. What is this verse? Ahalya, Draupadi, Sita, Tara, Mandodari, Tata. So 5 Pativratas we recite in the morning. Nobody recites any Pativrata or something of Patni Vrata. Nobody recites them. That shows the value of a woman. Because of the two, she is the one who is more equipped to nurture and nourish and sacrifice. So, this universe is a creation as Prashnopanishad describes. The creation of the interaction between sun and moon. Sun is a male principle, moon is a female principle. You can see their nature. Moon by nature is pleasing, nurturing, nourishing, because you require moonlight for that. So Lord Krishna says, Pushnami chausadi sarvaha somo bhutva rasatmaka. As moon, I provide the taste and nourishment to the plants and vegetables. Sun you require for the growth of the plant, moon you require for the nourishment, and you require both. But so woman is naturally designed to care and nurture and nourish. But then man should also recognize that this privilege that he has for woman nurturing and nourishing him should also, the one who nurtures also should be nurtured. The one who nourishes should be nourished. Sometimes we forget that. So tree is nourishing me, giving fruits, but then tree also requires something in return. That hen that gives you golden eggs also requires to be taken care of. So just because someone is nurturing, you cannot keep on receiving that nurturing, you have to nurture back. So thus each one nurturing and nourishing others is a beautiful setup that Ishvara has created for the human being to be happy and to grow. And so that's our all the best wishes and blessings. They are doing it anyway. 25 years is a big deal, as I said. But may you have many, many more years of a happy life together. And I'm sure there is always a scope of growth, of course. So, may you use your relationship as a platform for self-growth by being a contributor. Only a contributor can grow, a consumer can never grow. A demanding person is a consumer. One fulfilling demands is a contributor. So a contributor is a yogi. That's how each one becomes a yogi. Without having to do any samadhi, etc. So this is the opportunity given here. May God bless you in every way. Hari Om.